Good morning. Welcome to day 6 of our 30-day challenge. And today we're going to be picking up on a theme involving allowing that has to do with allowing timelines. And one thing that we have to learn how to do is to let go of the timeline. Because sometimes it's not that we set goals that are too ambitious or goals that are too hard or challenging, but sometimes it's our attachment to when they must happen. And so this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are today, let's think about our attachment to timelines. Because a lot of suffering that happens in our mind, it comes from not just the absence of the thing that we want, but the belief that it should be happening at a certain time. You have a customer and you pray, God help me out, and you think in your mind it needs to happen right now at this time. And biblically, there's a verse that I think it was Daniel when he was in a position where he says, whether God saves me or not, I'm still going to worship. And I'm still going to be faithful. Whether it happens now, whether it happens later. And the same principle applied to Joseph, to Abraham. We have to be able to detach from the when. And our mind is going to tell us things like, right now I should be further along. All my peers are doing this or doing that. I should have kids. I should be married. I should have a business. God must not be working. Why is this taking so long? But for this challenge, our questions have to change. Our posture has to change. We have to understand that, number one, we don't control anything, including timing. All we control, well, let me take that back. We don't control any external circumstances outside of us. Allowing it enables us to trust the process, even when we don't understand it, even when we don't like it. Because our job is to be faithful. It's not to schedule or to predict. It's to wait in peace. And so today, let's notice where we're being impatient. And this can be in the smallest details, little things. Let's notice when that breakthrough that we've been waiting for doesn't come. The customer doesn't come. The healing. Even when the answer, let's acknowledge the impatience. When we send a text message, it doesn't come back the way we wanted. So our question has always been, God, when will you do this for me? And the allowing changes the question to, can I be peaceful, open, faithful, even though it hasn't happened? And so sometimes the timeline is where our faith is developed, where our faith is tested. And so today, when you catch yourself asking, why isn't this here? Just replace it. What is this trying to teach me about patience? What is this trying to teach me about trust? Can I trust God even if the timing is not what I want, even if the timing is different than I expected? And let's get our own affirmation about this today and release our attachment to timing. So I trust God's process, and I will be faithful today and leave the future in God's hands. Because when we truly allow, we don't have to get the outcome that we want immediately. And sometimes it will come immediately. But we have to remain at peace, whether it comes today, tomorrow, next month, next year. And that is part of our challenge. I was thinking about this, and when Jesus said, be like a child, it really made me wonder, children aren't patient. So what was Jesus talking about? And it goes back to the comment that was made a few weeks ago, I believe, in our fellowship group. It's not about being a child. Being like a child or childlike is not the same thing as being childish. And when I thought deeper, I think about my kids, and I realized that children are actually patient about their identity. What they're impatient about is their preferences. Because a child can wait, or they can be impatient about going somewhere. Oh, are we there yet? Are we there yet? When are you going to be coming? They can be impatient about waiting for ice cream, waiting for Christmas, waiting for presents. But a healthy child, they don't wake up wondering about their identity. They're not patient about, am I enough? Am I behind in life? What if my future never works out? What if my dad doesn't love me anymore? The child waits for provision. They know that they're going to be protected. They know that they're going to be provided for. And I think that was the reason why Jesus pointed to children, is not because they mastered delayed gratification or patience, but because they just naturally trust. They naturally allow things. Because a child, they'll ask, are we there yet? But they're not going to say consistently, are you taking me somewhere that I want to go? Are you taking me somewhere that's going to be good for me? They know that the destination is going to be in their best interest. They may question it once, but they're not going to question who's taking them there. They trust. And I think that's the deeper lesson. We as adults, we become the opposite. We can wait for years for a goal, but inside we're saying God is unfair. Life is unfair. God forgot about me. This shouldn't be happening. And the suffering is not from the waiting. It's from the loss of trust. And I look at my own kids, and when I tell them we're going to Disney in 6 months, they'll probably ask about it every day. But they're not over there, creating spreadsheets to verify my financial projections and to see if we'll have enough money to go. They're not researching whether I'm capable of keeping my promise. They're just excited because they trust me. They know that if I told them that we're going, we're going. And I think that was the quality that Jesus was highlighting. And another way that I see it is that children live mostly in the present moment. And yeah, they can be devastated that they dropped an ice cream cone, or they didn't get what they wanted. But 5 minutes later, they're laughing. And I thought about this because adults, we can carry that same disappointment for years, decades. And children, they release. They live in that moment. We cling. And so when Jesus says, unless you become like children, a part of what he's pointing to is releasing the control, dependency, presence, receiving. But I ask myself, why does a child let go so easily? And why does an adult hold on so tightly? Why does something happen to us at 8 a.m. that upsets us, and the next day we're still angered and upset about it? The next week we're still angry. But a child, that same thing happens to them at 8 a.m. At 9 o'clock, they've forgotten about it. What I realized, based on what science has to say, is that the childlike condition is our natural state. And so it's just like the body sends signals when something is uncomfortable, when something seems dangerous. As a child, what if the body is sending a signal saying, this is not natural. This is uncomfortable being angry. This is uncomfortable being upset. And the child has no other response but to revert to their natural way that the body protects them. Now you might be wondering, well, how come we get like this? Repetition. If a child continues to go through disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, if they keep getting angered after anger, now they're repeating it. And now it becomes learned behavior. And we carry that into adulthood, and now the opposite happens. Because we've adopted that new behavior, that new state of being upset, holding on to things. Now the opposite is hard. We can't release it because that's our new state. And so the only way to release that new state is to go the other direction and to repeat the positive. I want to make sure this makes sense, okay? Because all I'm saying is that whatever condition that we repeat enough times, it becomes our default mechanism. And our default mechanism is going to be protected by the brain, protected by the subconscious. And any change, any deviation from that is seen as harmful. So a child won't deviate from being happy. It's hard for them unless they practice. After they've practiced, now their new state is when things happen, I get mad and I hold it. Let's see how long we can hold this for. Unless you practice. And I think this is so profound because, again, Jesus talked about this. It's talked about in other parts of the Bible. Renew your mind. So we have to constantly renew our mind, constantly allow ourselves to become transformed. And it's through that repetition that we grow. So today, let's observe which areas am I not being childlike? Am I allowing things to happen? Am I allowing things to unfold?